Hello, everyone. I'm Justine, and this is State of Grace Tarot. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Today's video is all about the Eight of Wands, and that is because one of my goals for the year is to really dive deeper into card meanings, and one of my ways that I am doing that is by taking my year ahead spread and using each card of the month as my card that I am going to really focus on studying and really integrating the meanings and my knowledge and understanding of the cards to really dive deep into each of those cards. And the intention behind the video is I truly believe that you don't really know something and truly understand it until you're able to teach it. So that is what this is for. It's to kind of test myself and also, maybe put some guidance or knowledge out there that maybe isn't already out there or in a different format that maybe it will help somebody learn something as well as I am learning. So that's the whole point of the channel and what I'm doing here. So thank you all for joining me and let's get to it. Okay, here we are. So when I first, lay down my cards, the first things I look at are the suits and the numbers. So seeing what elemental correspondences they have, as well as numerologically where they fall. The suit of wands is the fire energy. It's very active. The wands deal with creativity, determination, passion, enthusiasm, innovation. It's a suit of motivations and energy. There's growth and career ambitions. If you think of wands in a metaphysical sense, they're hot and dry. And the Eight of Wands specifically, this card has a lot of wand energy, and there's a lot of air here too. So it's where air meets fire, thoughts are materializing into physical action. Now, numerologically, the Eight of Wands typically has a pretty positive interpretation. You know, there's momentum, there's change, something happening rapidly, or messages being received. Um, you're getting clarity. But if you look at it in relation to the cards that come before it and after it in the suit of the wands, the Seven of Wands and the Nine, the sevens, they're typically a test of some sort. You're sorting out, you're refining, transforming something. You're taking a moment. Now, in the Seven of Wands, you see someone standing at the top of a hill fighting off others. There's, six other combatants that you can't see. This person literally standing on this hill to, hold their ground. And then nines are typically of completion and fulfillment. You're arriving somewhere. It's, the amplification and the ending of the suits from 1 to 10, typically. And in the Nine of Wands, you see someone who is exhausted and beat up. He has this wall built around him. He's standing there recovering from his wounds. He has his little bandage around his head. He's looking around with trepidation, is what it feels like to me. And the Eight of Wands is the path between these two cards. So in my mind, I'm like, how could this be positive? It's neutral at best. Now, when you think of eights are typically stabilizing, organizing, their validation of something. There might be some stagnancy there because you have, 8 is 4 doubled. So if 4 is a very stable and somewhat boring force, the 8 is double that. But it's also the manifestation of something. There's skill, application. The 8 of Wands being the path from the 7 to the 9, to me, it's almost visually like these people in the 7 of Wands have taken all their wands and decided to throw them. And did they win? It's hard to tell. The 9 of Wands is the aftermath of all the energy that's spent in the 8 of Wands. It takes a lot to get these wands moving in the right direction and moving together. Also, if you think of an 8, it makes me think of the infinity symbol. Which is unlimited. It can make you feel like you can keep going forever, never, never. Now, if you look at the imagery in the 8 of Wands, this is one of 2 minor arcana cards that has no people in it. The other card is the 3 of Swords. This card. Which implies that there are external forces at play. There's external energies in the situation that you may not have full control over. In the 8 of Wands, you can see rapid development with the wands flying. We also have lots of air. There's the predominant imagery in this card is the wands with the sky as the background. These wands flying through the air could indicate traveling. The blue background, could signify Jupiter, which rules the sign of Sagittarius. And the 8 of Wands is Mercury in Sagittarius. You can also see, there's a river in the background and a city on a hill far in the distance, implying that you've crossed this river. River crossings could signify going long distances and crossing thresholds. The water in this card could be, dealing with emotions that make you feel alone and isolated. 8 is one of the bigger numbers in the minor arcana if you're thinking from 1 to 10. And it takes a lot of energy to get all of these 8 wands flying in the same direction. And most of them are about at the same distance. They've gone the same amount, but there's this one that's a little bit farther, a little bit shorter. And this one could signify, one of the more challenging aspects of a task. It's, maybe there's one thing that's lagging behind the others. If you look at it compared to the Thoth card, we have the octahedron, which is 8 equal sides triangles. The octahedron is a platonic solid that deals with, and it symbolizes air. So once again, you have fire meeting air, thoughts into action. You have the rainbow, which is, spiritualized fire. We have Mercury and the sign of Aquarius on the cards. Hermetically, the eights on the Tree of Life deal with Hod, which is about the structure, and eights provide structure. And these electrical vibrations are light, and they're a measurement of time, which is, happening very quickly. That's how we measure time as humans, is, these are traveling faster than the speed of light. Now, one of the things I also like to do is compare the Eight of Wands to other eights in the tarot. And not only in the minor arcana, but also in the major arcana. We have, the Eight of Cups, which is about finishing up something and walking away and moving on. It's very emotional. We have the Eight of Swords, dealing with isolation and helplessness and limitation. The Eight of Pentacles, about lots of effort and perseverance and building the skill. In the majors, we have 8, which is strength, and we have the infinity symbol above her head, which, is about endless energy. Sometimes 8s feels like they can go on and on forever and ever, that you have the strength to keep going. And 17, the star reduces down to strength, or reduces down to 8. And the star, is a symbol of hope and that it's going to be all right. It's a sign of inspiration. If you look, not only is there an 8-pointed star, but there's 8 stars in the sky. Now, astrologically, the wands deal with Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And like I said earlier, the Eight of Wands is Mercury in Sagittarius. And Mercury deals with planning. Mercury is fast moving. It's air. It's associated with communication and versatility. It's inquisitive, nervous energy, maybe indecisive. There's a message typically associated with Mercury. The Magician is one of the associations with the planet Mercury. And the Eight of Wands is in the first decan of Sagittarius, ruled by the planet of Jupiter. This is mutable fire. There's passion, but it's changing direction. Sagittarius is focused and determined. It has the sign of the archer. The wands are the arrows shooting from the bow of the archer. The major arcana card associated with Sagittarius is Temperance, or Art in the Thoth. The minors that are associated with Sagittarius are the Eight of Wands, Nine of Wands, and 10 of Wands. So the speed of the arrow in the eights, the strength of the archer in the nines, and striking the target in the 10 of wands. The bringing together of Mercury and Sagittarius energy is clarity around goals. It's about spreading ideas, looking for new adventures, thinking of like things that go viral. It's an enthusiastic energy. You have the ability to achieve anything you want as long as you're able to focus. It's about clear communication, being flexible, talking it out. The Eight of Wands doesn't care about what the goal is. It's just going to get the job done. Put it in a direction and go. The title on the Thoth card is the Lord of Swiftness. It's very fast-moving energy. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to do and look at is how does the Eight of Wands show up in other interpretations of the tarot across multiple decks. I think one of the cool things about so many people and artists creating tarot decks is their different interpretations and the nuances of each of the cards. So I've pulled out a whole bunch of eights from many of my tarot decks, and I want to do a rundown of the different nuances that each of these decks have and how it slightly tweaks or amplifies the traditional meanings around the Eight of Wands. So let me get this set up and I'll be right back. So here are a few different interpretations of the Eight of Wands. Here we have the Eight of Fire from the Journey Tarot, where you see a woman quickly running across, stepping across what looks to be rocks hovering over lava. And in this card, you can see the swiftness and speed and imagine how quickly someone would move in this situation. Here in the Curious Travels deck, you have someone, taking the wands and using those to climb up above the sun. And you see, these birds in the air, which, makes you think of the air in the fire energy, thoughts manifesting into action. The Eight of Wands in the Fountain Tarot make me think of the pyramid in the Thoth Tarot as well. This Eight of Wands signifies a rapid force. The closer you are to home, the more prone you are to getting into an accident of some kind. You see this island in the distance, and it feels like, you're on the path there, but there's still potential to make a mistake. In the Tarot of Mystical Moments, you have this woman using the umbrellas to fly through the air. These 8 umbrellas are working together to carry her away. She's ready for action, going with the flow. If you think of the Eight of Wands and action, one of the things it made me think of was being so engrossed in something that you're doing that you tap into that flow state and it becomes almost effortless, becomes light. These wands are just flying through the air in the direction that you're going. But does she have control of these wands? If you're in that flow state, is it for the right reasons? Are you doing the right thing? Sometimes you can get so hyper focused on something that you're being distracted from other things that are more important. Here in the wild unknown, we have 8 wands pointed towards each other with lightning striking these wands, and which implies the sudden movement and change, striking like lightning, very quick and unexpected. Some of the wands, like this one, are, very similar to a Rider-Waite-Smith. This is just a softer interpretation. There's clouds. You still have the river. It doesn't have a city in the background, though. So you could be even farther from home in this, or maybe the city's behind you. Now, in the Fyodor Pavlov tarot, if I can get it up here, which is very similar to this Dreaming Way interpretation. And this one, it has in Latin, fortune favors the bold. And Fyodor specifically said that he wanted to change the direction of the wands because he feels like the journey is more important than the results. And in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, the wands are closer to striking the ground, coming to an end, whereas in his interpretation, you're just starting. You haven't reached your pinnacle yet. You're gaining momentum at this point. And the card art here in this Dreaming Way tarot, it makes me think, are these wands flying backwards, or are they even lower to the ground than the Fyodor Pavlov tarot? Maybe these are even more at the beginning of the stage. One interesting thing in the Heartwood tarot, you see the wands and you see the salmon swimming upstream, and they're jumping through the threshold and flying away. In this one, it's the fish are overcoming an obstacle. You see the little mouse, who's the fool in this tarot deck. He's standing on a ledge. This harkens back to Temperance, which is literally just a close-up of the fool in the same scene, which I find very interesting, as Temperance is one of the cards associated with this card, as it's Mercury and Sagittarius, and Temperance is Sagittarius. In the Dreamy Moons tarot, we have an actual archer shooting off her arrow, which I find very interesting. She's focused, determined. She's going to use this energy to achieve her goals. Some of the others, we have the Morgan Greer tarot, which is very similar to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. We have a little castle in the background. It's just a little bit more zoomed in. In the Magical Creatures Tarot, we have the focus. We're zoomed in on the eye of this golden dragon, and we see the shadows of the wands flying through the air on his face, which is, symbolizing being focused and being able to see the incoming message. In Smoke, Ash, and Embers, we also have another dragon who's using the momentum of the wands. They're all flying together through the air. In Oak, Ash, and Thorns, we have a fox looking up in the sky at the wands and seeing that energy coming to fruition. Maybe he's looking up for a message. In the Unicorn's Journey, we see the rapid progress, momentum, and speed as Mystic is rushing to deliver the message of the incoming danger. Mystic's running with the red dragons to let the castle know about the incoming danger of these men. And the momentum is taking Mystic and helping her deliver the message. And Under the Oak, you can see how the interpretation is more along the lines of changes on the horizon, because the Eight of Wands is symbolized through shooting stars. Your wishes are about to come true. The stars are providing the guidance. It's a reminder to never give up on your dreams. When we wish upon a star, we're putting hope out there. And Spirit Speak, we can see the movement. We have the Viking ship moving forward through the water. It's on fire. So we have the movement and action. When I think of a Viking ship, I think of a lot of effort going into moving that ship as well, but there's a lot of focus and determination. In the Northern Animal Tarot, we see action, but is it helping or hurting this fox in this case? The fox is lifted up off the ground because of these wands flying through the air, showing how it's outside of your control. You're moving with the action. It can be either positive or negative. In the Forest of Enchantment, this one is more about incoming messages. Owls typically deliver important news. I think the guidebook specifically references how it's only important news. It's not going to be trivial news. Any other bird can deliver trivial news, but owls are wise and knowledgeable and discerning and will only deliver the most important of news. In the flight of their wings, you can also see the movement and momentum. And these owls are coming towards you, and they look like they're about to land. So it's, speaks to the arrival and the meeting of a goal. In the Fortuna Tarot, this one's more of a pippish deck for the minors, but we do have the Mercury and Sagittarius. We have 8 candles, symbolizing the amount and the energy. The candelabra also kind of looks like a bit of a bow and arrow shooting off. These candles could shoot off into space. In the Forager's Daughter, we have a sudden burst of energy going through these wands. All these wands are pointed straight up, sending their positive energy upwards into the sky. In the Star Child Tarot, we have the thoughts of this woman being put into action. She's sending off her passion through the threshold. She's making movement here. Or she could be the one sending the positive news. It's up to your interpretation. In the Linus Oracle, we have, Mercury and Sagittarius, swiftness. This card's about horizons expanding and synchronicity, and a reminder of the microcosm being reflected as the macrocosm, and as above, so below. That's what this card leans into. In Tarot of a Moon Garden, it's very similar to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith in that the wands are incoming and shooting down. In the Fairy Tale Tarot, this card's more about cooperative activities and making things happen. You have the three princes and their beasts as the fairy tale, and they're working together. One of the interesting things, in this fairy tale, the animals are their guides and companions. I don't know if that you can see them, but the trees, there's faces in the trees, and also in the background, maybe you can see it here, there's faces. These all represent the psychic entities and the external forces sending you messages. And some are just, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. In the Pause Tarot, we have the Eight of Wands and a house over the hill. And then in Zeke's Arcana, we just have the pips of the 8 wands flying through the air. In Tarot Landscapes, the rapid evolution is symbolized by the fireworks blowing up, and also the chameleon, who's a master at adapting and changing and being able to fit in with whatever comes its way. Now in the Gentle Tarot, this would be one that is less rapid and speaks to more about being ready and open and receptive to the change. It's a softer interpretation to me of the Eight of Wands energy. It's a reminder to tune in and be receptive to the information. To me, these leaves are just kind of falling to the ground very softly. And we have the Crow Tarot, which is about forward progress and acting now. The crow is flying with the wands that are shooting up into the air. We have the sun flowers, which are, very positive, and I think these are poppies. It's about being able to see the big picture. So I think this was, a fun exercise of seeing all the different interpretations of the Eight of Wands. Let me know your thoughts. How do these eight of Wands speak to you in different ways? Thank you all so much for joining me today as I go through my journey with the Eight of Wands. Give me your thoughts, give me your feedback. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you again soon.